Truong My Lan was a billionaire who did something really bad in Vietnam. For 11 years, she took a lot of money from the biggest bank. Then something big happened. Her trial. It was like a huge show in Vietnam because she did one of the worst bank cheats ever. The court in Ho Chi Minh City said she would be killed because she did so many bad things, like cheating and breaking rules. People say her trial was the biggest money cheat trial ever in Vietnam. You won't believe what happened with her. She's the head of a company called Van Thinh Pat, and turns out she got caught red-handedly taking $44 billion from Saigon Commercial Bank over 11 whole years. Can you imagine? That's like never-ending money. But it gets crazier. She's in big trouble for being part of this huge money scam, worth over $12.5 billion. They caught her in October 2022 during this massive anti-corruption sweep in Vietnam. They call it the Blazing Furnace. They were on a mission to clean up the dirty business, and Lan's arrest is just the tip of the iceberg. Even big shots in the government and business world are getting kicked out of their fancy positions. Lan's family is standing by her side. They're saying that she's done nothing wrong and they won't back down until she's declared innocent. They're gearing up to fight for her in court, but the court is considering giving her the most barbaric punishment of all: death. Can you believe it? We're all on the edge of our seats. I mean, what's really going on with Lan and her case? We've got to dig deeper to find out. Lan, leading the real estate company Van Thinh Pat, was busy with all sorts of big projects: fancy homes, offices, hotels, and shopping spots. This company is one of the richest in Vietnam when it comes to real estate. But Lan didn't just land in that top spot overnight. She actually came from a family with both Vietnamese and Chinese roots right in Ho Chi Minh City, the bustling commercial hub and the most crowded city in Vietnam. Believe it or not, Lan didn't start off as a big shot. She actually began her journey selling cosmetics at a market stall with her mom. So how on earth did she end up a billionaire? That's the million-dollar question. Back in 1986, when Vietnam's economy was getting a makeover, Lan saw an opportunity and started buying land and buildings. By the 90s, she owned lots of hotels and restaurants. But here's the thing. We're not exactly sure where all that money came from. But hey, it's likely she was up to some sketchy stuff even back then. By the end of 2011, Lan had become a big name in the business world of the city. She even got the green light to take a major step, merging 3 struggling banks into a big one. And that's how Saigon Commercial Bank was born. It quickly became one of the biggest banks in Vietnam, and it was loaded with assets. But wait, the total value of all the stuff linked to Van Thinh Pat and its buddies is said to be between $12 and $48 billion. Investigators and this fancy firm called Hong Kong came up with these numbers, but those estimates could be way off. It's very possible the real number is even higher than that. Lan spokesperson says all those assets are worth a massive $30 billion. And guess what? Most of them aren't even finished yet, but nobody's really sure who owns them. They might even be used to promise money for loans and bonds. Oh, and these assets include really fancy properties in cool places like Dong Quai Street in Ho Chi Minh City. Basically, according to the US company Cushman & Wakefield, these spots are some of the most expensive shopping streets in the world. And guess what? One of Lan's properties is the Times Square Saigon building, which is super tall and has this fancy 6-star hotel, the Reverie Saigon. But here's the big deal. The building was used as security for a bunch of loans, like 73 of them adding up to almost $1.2 billion, all from Saigon Commercial Bank. So what's Lan's role in all of this? What's she being accused of? Lan and her friends were accused of secretly running Saigon Joint Stock Commercial Bank from 2012 to 2022. They were taking billions of dollars using fake companies and paying off government officials. Now, Vietnamese law says nobody can own more than 5% of a bank. But get this, Lan owned over 90% of Saigon Commercial Bank by using tricky methods to hide her ownership. Lan was really tricky as the boss. She picked her own people to run things and told them to say yes to loans, which made up almost all the bank's lending. Then, she'd move that loan money to her secret companies. They say Lan and her buddies let about 2,500 loans happen. And get this, these loans made the bank lose a huge $27 billion. Plus, they say Lan told her driver to take out over $4 billion in cash from the bank in just 3 years. And guess where she kept all that money? Yeah, in her own basement. Lan didn't stop at just running the bank. She also got mixed up in bribery. There was this ex-central bank official, Dorothy Neen, who got sentenced too. They say she took $5.2 million in bribes. Lan's case is causing a huge stir in Vietnamese politics right now. Even the ex-president Vo Van Thuong had to quit in March because he got tangled up in it too. Can you believe it? Thanks to this mess, 2 presidents and 2 deputy prime ministers had to step down, and hundreds of other officials are either getting in trouble or facing time behind bars because of it. Now people are wondering if other banks and businesses are pulling the same tricks as Lan. Her case has really put a downer on Vietnam's economy and has made foreign investors really worried. Vietnam was trying to show itself as a great place for businesses looking to move away from China, but Lan's mess has messed it all up. Even the real estate scene in Vietnam is hurting bad. They say 1,300 real estate companies have pulled out of the market. Now developers have to offer discounts and even give away gold to get people interested in buying. According to Thanh Nien newspaper, lots of spots in Ho Chi Minh City's downtown are sitting empty. The folks in charge of this mess say they're going to keep fighting corruption for a long time. But was Lan's case so bad that she had to get sentenced to death? In Vietnam, cheating and giving bribes as well as breaking banking rules are big deals. And Lan's case really messed up Vietnam's reputation, so it's not surprising she got such a serious punishment. She was given the death penalty for cheating, and she's supposed to pay the bank $27 billion back. But the folks in charge doubt they'll ever see that money. Some say they're using the death penalty to scare Lan into giving the money back. Lan is one of the very few women in Vietnam to get sentenced to death for a white-collar crime. The court says that she was basically the leader of a gang stealing money from the whole country. They say her actions hurt the rights of other organizations and people and put Saigon Commercial Bank in a really bad spot. It's also made people lose trust in the government and party leaders. The whole Vietnam is keeping a close eye on Lan's trial. It's been all over the news with pictures and videos showing Lan in court surrounded by lots of police officers. According to Thanh Nien newspaper, prosecutors say Lan didn't admit to her crimes or show any regret. They say her actions have caused serious and permanent damage. They believe the death penalty is the right punishment for what she did. People in Vietnam really want her out of society for good. Her trial lasted for a whole month, and the authorities say they called in 2,700 people to give testimony. Out of those, 10 were government prosecutors, 200 were lawyers, and 104 were presented as evidence. And get this, 85 other people were on trial alongside Lan. It's pretty wild how someone can pull off something like this for so long, right? But in the end, the law catches up with them. Lan is now facing the consequences for what she did. What do you think about her case? Do you think the death penalty is the right punishment for her crimes? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to listen to more real-life stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.